Hey, this is Sean Whalen. Don't go out there, it's scary, but do listen to the Don't Go Out There podcast. You won't regret it.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We had the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jumping to the film review. We are taking on Mike's free themed month, and we are going to be kicking it off with Brother Brian's pick. Brian, go ahead and announce your pick and why you picked it.
Yeah, I went with 2005's remake of War of the Worlds, not the 2025 remake and not the original. But listen, I've always been a H.G. Wells fan. The Time Machine is another one of his books turned into movies that I really love, the original and the remake from earlier this millennium as well. But as far as War of the Worlds goes, I never saw the 1953 original. And my dad actually told me about the 1938 radio broadcast and how people thought it was real back in the day, which is pretty well known. And I have not seen the newest remake in 2025, but I heard it is complete shit show. But as for this, I really have always loved this. I saw it in the theater when it was released, and I know we'll get to the budget, but it was a big blockbuster event back then that I recall. And I kind of miss these type of movies that aren't superhero movies, if I'm being honest. But Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning, the legendary David Cope writing. It was an instant classic, I think. Hell, it was nominated for 3 Oscars, and deservedly so, in my opinion. And not to spoil it, but I think Nico didn't love it. But he's really just got to grow up, I think, to enjoy real cinema. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I picked it because it's been on my list for a while, and I felt like it was time.
All right, I'll go next. I have not seen this movie, to nobody's surprise. I don't even know if I've heard of it, to be honest with you. I thought the movie, I only watched the movie one time when I did the scene by scene on it. I thought the movie was it was fine. It's just not up my alley. It's just not something that I love personally. And while, Mike says this in his rating as well as Spielbergian, I guess you can say, it's a summer blockbuster. I don't know if it even came out in the summer, I'll be honest with you. But it has that summer blockbuster feel. Big movie, you see it on the big screen, you'll probably be oohing and awing and all that. But the ending just left me underwhelmed with what finished the aliens off. Really? I don't know. The movie was fine. It's just nothing I'm going to ever desire to turn back on, but it was worth one watch. I'll just leave it at that. Dustin, what did you think about the movie?
Yeah, so this movie was a summer blockbuster. And I know that because I was working at Regal Cinema in 2005 when it released. That was my first job. And I remember this movie playing when I started. It was already showing when I started, for a week, I think. And it's always cool for me to, when we review movies, that I remember them being in the theater because I worked there at the time. Like this, Wolf Creek, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, although I don't like that one. It was cool. Now, I didn't watch this one back then, and I've only seen parts of it throughout the years until now, like when we did this review. I thought the movie was pretty good. Spielberg, he might have a future in this directing business. Like, he's pretty decent at what he does. I've been very vocal that I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. I like some of his movies, but I don't like him personally, and so that like hinders my ability to appreciate him as an actor. But I thought he was solid in this movie, especially like he's so smug and intense and just such a douchebag, like in life, that he comes across as this absentee father very well. It's very believable. I thought the movie was pretty dang solid. I did.
Yeah,
really
I don't.
Really good
Go
pacing
ahead.
to me. Really good pacing to me for the movie to be, just a nut hair short of 2 hours. Like the pacing was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was. Just the kids were just so annoying to me. It's like
Hey.
Dakota Fanning won't stop screaming. The son won't shut the hell up. Oh my gosh, it was
Dakota
just frustrating.
Fanning is fantastic. So you watch your mouth.
Yeah,
one
but
of
she was annoying in this movie. We can keep it a buck. Like
She
I love
was.
Mia Goth, but she was annoying in Infinity Pool.
Yeah, Dakota and Elle they're two of my favorite actresses. So I will go to war for both of those.
Hey, I
ladies.
feel you, brother. I don't care for Tom Cruise, the person, either, but like I'm sure you've seen a lot of the TikToks as well. Like he seems very passionate about cinema and watching movies and like making memories of watching movies. Like I've just seen a lot of like the interviews he's done and like how appreciative he is of film. And I can appreciate that at least, even without liking him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the lengths that he went through to make the Mission Impossible franchise, especially the last couple movies, to make them what they were, I definitely respect his commitment to the craft, especially at his age and doing the stunts that he did. He is a madman. I just can't stand the short little prick.
That's fair. All right, Dustin, let's jump into the scene by scene. The film starts with an ominous score as the opening credits roll. Cool shot of a dewdrop showing Earth as we cut into the city life with narration on men with shots of people living and now cuts to space of others who are against us across the galaxy. Ray is working the loader at the port moving trailers of goods. He's told by the boss he needs him to come in earlier than scheduled, but Ray says hell no and walks off. He scoots out of work in his hot rod car and makes it home. He takes the trash to the road and is late meeting Marianne and Tim. Robbie and Rachel exit the car and only Rachel greets him. Mary helps Rachel take her luggage inside and she's caught off guard by the engine in his kitchen and calls him out for being out of groceries. Mary tells Ray they're too old to be sharing rooms still and informs him of Robbie's paper that's due and to get started on it. She hugs her kids and walks out with Ray saying how to contact her if needed. He says being pregnant is a good look for her and she leaves. The news is talking of lightning storms in Ukraine as Pops throws Robbie a baseball glove. The two play catch in the backyard while he tells Robbie to get his report done. Robbie says he hates coming here and misses a catch so the baseball goes straight through the window. Rachel tries to teach Ray how to connect with Robbie and ain't having it and goes to lie down. He orders him food and Rachel scrolls the telly and she tells him she has a splinter. She doesn't want him to touch the splinter, denying it will get infected. Ray isn't a fan of hummus and asks where Robbie is. He's told he took the car and left. Ray exits furiously and we see the people looking into the sky. Strange activity, and he runs to the backyard for a better view. The sky is black and the wind is blowing towards a storm. He has Rachel come look and the lightning fills the sky. It suddenly stops until zaps start happening everywhere and she and Ray run to the house. Ray thinks it's fun until shit gets real and they run upstairs. He says lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, and he's right. It hits there multiple times. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What'd you think?
Morgan Freeman voiceover. Literally, what is better than that? You know what would make this even better? If somehow we could have a Tim Robbins cameo and have a little Shawshank reunion. Man, that would be cool, right? Now, look, the first part gets a lot of slack online, anyway that I've seen. I guess people don't really care a lot about the human aspect of the movie, really, but I think it's pretty important. I mean, I love the character development. Plus, I mean, that's a Spielberg staple, right? I mean, the movie has to have heart somewhere, and personally, I think it does a good job of establishing that here. And, just the shot of Ray as it's shot through that whole window after the heated exchange with he and his son after they were throwing the baseball and he threw it through the window. Yeah, just that shot shows how defeated Ray is in just that one shot. and we barely know the guy. And I mean, truthfully, give me another 15-minute scene of the family dynamic. I would be fine with that. I don't think the movie is personally long enough. But, I know that I'm probably alone in that. And hell, actually, when Rachel gets a splinter in her finger early in the movie and she explains to Ray that her body will eventually push it out, nice little, spoiler alert, foreshadowing there. Because as we know at the end of the movie, the aliens are defeated by Earth's own organisms, I guess, infecting them with diseases, which people don't like, but I do. We'll get there. I also like how there's not much warning at all. The whole thing just feels real. It's just a normal day. Ray is pissed about his car, and then bam. Great open, I thought.
All right, so we open with the iconic voice of Morgan Freeman. Heck yeah, man. Like I knew that voice before I even looked it up. And then we see Tom Cruise using the crane to move the drayage containers. That mission was so stressful in GTA 5 for me for some reason. But then when he leaves his workplace, we see him driving like Ethan Hunt. Brother, you're just going home. The mission isn't that impossible. We see another alumni of our show, Miranda Otto. I know Nico recognized her from The Lord of the Rings, but she was also Sue in Talk to Me. That's cool. This cast is incredible. Like, it was crazy seeing Dakota Fanning here because sometimes you just kind of forget just how long of a career she's had. And like I already mentioned, her and her sister Elle, two of my favorite actresses. Elle in particular, I think that she is top tier elite actress, but Dakota's really good too. Ultimate rebellion from Robbie to put on a Red Sox hat, like that's just disrespectful. That kid needs to be bent over his knee and whooped a good time or two. Solid effects on the sky, like that sky looked crazy. But aside from the sky, I do kind of hate the color grading on this movie. Like it just looks ugly to me. It looks very of its time, though. A lot of movies did this and had this look in the early 2000s. So I can forgive it. It's just not my favorite. Another recognizable cast member, his neighbor, is played by Amy Ryan, a.k.a. Holly Flax from The Office and Beatty from The Wire. I mean, it's just incredible. And David Harbour, I believe, I missed him. I was looking for him, but I think he worked with him at his job there. And which I know you recognize him from Thunderbolts in the Marvel movies. But anyway, I think this was a very solid open that established our characters and their dynamic, and also we start to see the events unfold.
Wasn't he in something else too? He got pretty famous for, like Stranger Things or something like that. Sheriff Hopper.
I never heard of it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll have to check it out someday. But anywho, Rachel and Ray call her to the table, and she asks about Robbie. She asks if he's okay, and he wonders where's the thunder. Ray gets from under the table, and he checks the phone and fridge, which aren't working. He asks her to stop asking so many questions and goes to check the lights in the other room. Power's out, cell phones are cooked, and shit's getting spooky. Folks head outside confused on what's going on. Robbie is back and says the car isn't working. He says there were 26 lightning strikes, a weird opening happened, and is told he'll call the cops next time he takes the car. He's told to go inside and be with his sister. Ray talks to a mechanic, and all the cars aren't working, even ones with new starters. The people all run to a central location. Ray talks to two young bucks who say they heard it was a solar flare that caused all this. We see folks gather around a spot in the road that was zapped, and Ray grabs a piece of the asphalt and says it's freezing, not hot. They feel a rumble in the ground, and the cops know something is down there and it's moving. The road cracks more and begins breaking the buildings too. Cops try and clear out everything, but too late. The road beneath their feet is crumbling. Chaos ensues until water shoots from the earth and the ground sinks in. A car is launched, and then we see the cause. An alien emerges, and the people run off in fear. The people watch the machine, and it has arms that shoots beam of energy, I assume, which eviscerate people like Charles Neal used to say he did to rival fans. If you know, you know. Ray is running away from the scene as wreckage happens all around him. He makes it home filthy, and his kids ask what happened. Ray is visibly shook and cleans off quickly. He grabs a box and tells Robbie to fill it up with food. We're leaving in 60 seconds. Ray gets a gun, and the three take off. They make it to the van the mechanics were working on earlier. He and Manny debate for a bit, and he tells them to get in or you're going to die. Wreckage happens behind them, and then they drive off. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What'd you think?
Honestly, this has probably always been the most unsettling set of scenes to me in the entire movie. It just always has been. Spielberg shoots a lot of this shaky cam here to give that chaotic feeling. I feel like it works just brilliantly. And the non-existent soundtrack, where it's just what's happening in the shot, where there's no music being played, I think is one of my favorite parts about this section here as well. And when they're all looking down into the hole on Main Street, and one of those cops said, said nothing down there. I was like, hello, there's a river of slime down there, pal. We all know it leads to the museum too, so come on. Anyway, sorry, just trying to lighten the mood there, because the next part to me is terrifying. I think the effects on these tripods, they call them, are fantastic. You know, I mentioned those 3 Oscars. Well, Best Visual Effects was one of them. And I'm pretty sure, since it's Spielberg, that ILM did all the effects. Double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that it was Industrial Light and Magic there. But yeah, like I said, terrifying. You know, that trumpeting sound. Sidebar, I've studied a lot in the Book of Revelations through the years, and every time it mentions the trumpet sounding, this is the sound I picture in my head. It's very unnerving. And I mean, the ashes on Ray. I mean, the clothes flying everywhere. I mean, you know, they took the idea of Ray's horror at discovering ash all over himself after stumbling home. They took that from September 11th Survivor stories. And that is freaking horrifying. I don't know how else to describe that. But when he gets home, Dakota Fanning is just so damn good to me. I really like to focus on this thing through the eyes of one of the family, too. Let me just say that, because we don't have it like World War Z, where, you know, we're following the main guy, Brad Pitt, as it's like looking for like the breakthrough of the entire thing, and we're getting a story from like bird's eye point of view. I like that we're in this one, that we're following this family and we're learning as we learn with them, kind of like Walking Dead in that aspect. Another great group of scenes, but like I said, terrifying.
Yeah, all the electronics being fried, that's a good plot device. Like, it makes everything, you know, seem more dire, causes more tension. It's like, it calls for panic. Like, it's crazy to think how life was before cell phones and stuff, and how are we going to get in contact with our loved ones? How are we going to find each other? So I thought that was good. And also the fact that, cars don't work either. Like, I thought that was solid. Then we get another familiar face, Ricky Gonzalez, who was in Coach Carter with friend of the show, Texas Battle. Interview, don'tgoouthere.com. He plays Vincent here. I mean, the supporting cast in this movie is just incredible. We get solid effects on the ground splitting and the buildings, you know, collapsing or exploding. I thought that looked good. And it's a pretty chaotic scene unfolding with good tension, and then bang, we see an alien arm or something in the sky before it emerges from the ground. The lack of score, and then the very subtle score, it makes everything so much more tense. I think that was a great call to just have it be so eerily quiet there. And then these people are nuts. Anyone who was injured or killed deserved it. Because why are you standing there looking? I don't care that, they're not doing anything bad yet. Dude, you see the size of them? Run, dummies. It's a very frantic scene as he gathers the kids and they make their exit. But man, one of my biggest pet peeves in life, not in movies, is when someone's just straight up ignoring you when you're talking directly to them or asking them questions. Use your words, idiot. Like, it's counterproductive to just assume everyone will go along with you saying, we got to go. You're acting like a lunatic and you're not giving an explanation. Talk. Use your words like a big boy clone, Dr. Evil. This is another solid set of scenes with business is really picking up.
What's the old saying? That's not how business is done. Dustin, how does that go?
Yeah, that's just not how business is done. I tell you what, I won't do that.
If you know, you know. Ray drives away and has his kids get down as chaos happens all around him. He's driving through a jammed highway of stalled cars, and he has Robbie calm Rachel down. Ray snaps, saying these things came from someplace else and not Europe. He wonders if the creature that operates the machine came down during the lightning storm. Ray is crashing out as Rachel is unhinged, screaming, wanting to be with Mom. Others look on as they drive past. Nighttime now, and they make it to Mom. Rachel is yelling for her and runs inside the house. The kids call for Mom and Tim, but no signs of them in the house. Ray tells them they're not here or dead. They're on the way to Boston. Ray is ignoring Robbie about the phones and scolds him for the food he put in the box. Ray makes sandwiches like he's a card player and forgets his daughter is allergic to peanut butter. He tells her to eat the bread then. Robbie says he's not hungry either, and Ray crashes out, throwing the peanut butter bread into the window. And I gotta admit, I laughed pretty hard at that moment because I thought that was a valid crash out. He tries to convince himself to calm down as they all go into the basement. A nice basement that only someone like Mike Settle could afford. Nighttime now, and they're trying to sleep until the lightning awakes Ray. They hear the same noises earlier, and the fear kicks in. The basement begins to shake as new colors and sounds happen. The family runs deeper into the basement as the windows crash in. Rachel asks if they're still alive, and Ray goes upstairs to see the house ruined, and a crashed airplane was the cause of said destruction. Ray sees a man on the plane and asks if he was a passenger. A woman says he's deaf and a cameraman. The two were attached to a National Guard unit. Ray is shocked to hear there's more than one. Ray sees her video footage, and she says this isn't anything. She shows him the drivers are in the lightning. They come down in capsules. We hear a noise, and they say they're getting the hell out of here. News lady asks if he was on the plane and says, that's too bad. It would have been a great story. All right, Brian, it's the next set of scenes. What'd you think?
After watching Walking Dead and some other apocalyptic movies again lately, something that really stood out to me here, all the cars on the interstate just nicely pulled over to the side, allowing an open lane through it. Yeah, no chance. Fun Easter egg. The music at 34 minutes, 40 seconds as it just fades away when Rachel runs into the house. That's an homage to the music from Jaws when the shark is in the vicinity. I thought that was a nice touch. I really hadn't noticed that before. And also, can I just say, Mom, Tim, fuck you guys. If I was in this scenario, I mean, you couldn't do anything but kill me. We're trying to get back to my kids. And I mean, we find out at the end that they're just chilling in some house in Boston the whole time. Like, what? I don't know. It's just always rubbed me the wrong way with those two. While they're at Mom and Tim's, like, why are we not raiding their fridge? Like, why are we not looking for stuff? Why are we just going through that box of despair? I'm calling it, because there was not shit in that box. And I never understood that either. There's food all in there. But great shot, great shot as they're in the basement. And it just has their silhouettes with the lightning strikes in the background. And, after that whole fiasco in the basement, the next morning when Ray walks through and we focus just on Tom Cruise, but then whip around and see what he's seeing, very Wizard of Oz-esque shot to me. That reminded me from when Wizard of Oz, when we go from black to white to color. But, when she opens up her front door there. But here we're seeing all of that destruction. And that's just, like I said, another very standout shot. Fun fact, that was a real Boeing 747 that was decommissioned that they used for that crash site. So that was all practical. And just another great scene, in my opinion.
Yeah, talk about a car ride from hell, man. Tom Cruise driving like he's Cole Trickle again. And then you got a screaming kid in the back seat. Like, I would just wreck it, take us all out. I'm done. And then he really sucks as a dad. Like, he tried to assassinate his daughter with peanut butter and then got mad that she wouldn't eat it. Threw a tantrum, threw the peanut butter bread up against the window. Calm down, buddy. The tension doesn't let up for long, which is what I said about the pacing being really good in this one, as, they're woke up by a crazy explosion. Like, imagine waking up and finding a jet engine in the living room. I'm not going to lie. I would be scouring the area trying to find the Biscoff cookies. That's just me, though. When she shows him how many of these things there are, I'd probably just call it a day. Like, there's no sense in running or trying to find safety. I think we're cooked.
Chat, are we cooked? You are cooked. Ray tells Rachel to keep her eyes on him only, and he carries her away to the car. Robbie can't believe what he sees and is told to get in the car. They drive away on back roads as Robbie continues to be a fake hard ass. He tells her no more calling him Ray, and of course Rachel has to go to the bathroom now. They stop by a river, and Rachel runs off way too far to pee, not understanding the severity of the situation. Rachel is horrified seeing all the floating bodies in the river, and Ray covers her eyes and carries her away. We see military passing by Robbie, who gets to go with them, and Ray asks what's the plan. He's in charge now, as the two argue. Big-time relationship issue with dad and son, as Rachel appears asking who is going to take care of her if he goes. Old dad must feel like shit hearing this. Ray asks Robbie to drive so he can close his eyes for a bit. They pass by people walking, and the mood is quite sad. Robbie wakes Dad up, and they swap chairs. A crowd of people surround the car, and Rachel asks if they can give them a ride, all 5,000 of them. Someone gets on the hood, and he speeds up, tossing them. Ray has to swerve at the last minute and runs into a pole. Others begin breaking the windows out, and the mob snatches Ray and Robbie out. Ray begins fighting them to save Rachel until he's overwhelmed. He orders Rachel out of the car and shoots bullets into the air. All the mobsters tell him to calm down, and a gun is pulled on him. He surrenders his car and gets Rachel. Ray and the kids go into the diner to sit down and chill. More gunshots at the driver of the van. The mob continues to chase it down as the three sit down defeated and scared. They continue on and a train passes by that's on fire. The people cross the tracks as some classical music plays. The people make it to an army base as Ray meets with Cheryl and her daughter. Rachel sets gaze upon some seagulls in the sky and she grabs her dad's hand. Everyone thought shit was sweet until they see 3 monsters on the horizon. Chaos ensues again and they're ordered no more people and lift the ramp now. Ray tries to barter to no luck, but they use some razzle-dazzle to sneak on. However, Cheryl and her daughter are left behind. The boat's ramp is lifted and the boat takes off. Robbie climbs the ramp and helps others make it over. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
The stopping to go to the bathroom and Rachel seeing all of those bodies at the start of the set of scenes, like here floating down that river. Another just horrifying shot. But, Ray grabbing her and blocking her eyes. Dakota Fanning, just her acting, it was just a really powerful moment for me. And it didn't have any business being that emotional and powerful. But it was to me. Now, Robbie's a dumbass fucking teenage boy, and I know he gets on your nerves, but I said it before. The dumbest creatures on this planet are teenage boys. Trust me, I have one. Trust me, I was one. So are you guys. They're idiots. Emotional scene, though, nonetheless, but I do like that Ray isn't perfect. He's definitely made some bad choices. He's flawed. That's a good word for it. And again, I use the example in World War Z, Brad Pitt. Perfect family guy, no faults, genius. And, I kind of like it this way better. It's a little bit more believable. So I just wanted to say that. And so the scene here where they get robbed, it's a very tense one as well. And apparently after hearing Steven Spielberg make a remark about how catastrophes brought out the best in people, David Cope wrote the scene where Ray is forced to give up that van at gunpoint. And I don't know what world Steven Spielberg lives in up from his fucking sparkly mansion, but I think catastrophes bring out the worst in people because, maybe I'm just a pessimist with that, but I think most people are inherently evil, in my opinion. So I'm personally glad that this is in the movie this way. And, I guess the family stuff just hits hard because my kids are close to these ages. So it's easy for me to put myself into Ray's place to an extent. So I don't know. Maybe that's just why I have a soft spot here. And what a shot with that burning train coming through. Just fucking the visuals here. Like, what a visual seeing that tripod come over the trees and the horizon as well. Then the panic. Crazy tense scene. I will say Robbie gets on my nerves, but I like how it shows that he wants to help people because it kind of sets up what happens later, like a little better. Like it may not be totally believable, but at least it does set it up well here.
Yeah, it's a little too convenient for me that the whole neighborhood is destroyed, but the van is untouched, and there's a path for them to drive out of the neighborhood. Like, that's a little too convenient. Then, as if the situation wasn't traumatizing enough for a little girl, seeing dozens of bodies floating down the creek, that would seal the deal. She's scarred for life. Robbie and Ray's argument was kind of annoying, but I did get a good laugh when Ray said, "Do you have a plan that doesn't involve your sister joining the army?" That was pretty funny. The angry mob scene really pissed me off because a couple things. Like, if the car was still able to drive after he wrecked it into the pole, why didn't he just throw it in reverse and run people over and get out of there? Like, that was just forced tension to me to have the mob surround the car and you think that Rachel's going to get kidnapped. It was stupid because the van was still drivable. But also it frustrated me because why did Robbie wait until the very last moment to wake Ray up? Like, as soon as I'm driving as a kid that doesn't have a license and I see people lining the roads and it doesn't look like there's a path through them, I'm waking up then and telling him, "Hey, you take the wheel." Like, he waited until they were way too deep for Ray to really do anything. That's stupid. The flaming train, that was funny to me for some reason. Like, it just seemed so random. The cross thing went down, and then you see this bullet train from WWE wrestler Mayor Kane's playhouse just speed down the track. Come on. I do like how it was done the next time we see one of the alien machines, whatever you want to call them. Like, it's calmed down some here. And then Rachel sees the trees moving funny, and then a very ominous look at one atop the hill. I thought that was a great shot. But another thing I don't care for, they introduced Cheryl just to give us an emotional pull when she gets left off the boat. But I just didn't care. Hundreds of people got left off the boat. Like, she's supposed to matter more to me just because I know her name? Who is she? I don't care. Like, what makes her so special when there's hundreds of people? Come on. It's not the same as when we saw, in I Am Legend, when he's trying to get his family on and looks like they're not going to make it. That mattered. That was his family. This is just some random woman that he probably hooked up with once, hadn't even met her kid. Come on. But we're still moving along nicely, though, even if this definitely was my least favorite set of scenes.
The captain sees lights in the water and an alien explodes from the ocean. They ain't safe anywhere. Passengers begin to jump overboard and a car falls off right into Ray and the kids. People are snatched up by the aliens from the water as Ray and kids make it to land. The three see the aliens wreaking havoc on folks and are terrified. The three take off running until Robbie stops suddenly, seeing clothes fall from the sky. The three are walking with others across a pasture and Rachel begs for Robbie to slow down. Ray wants them to stick together, but he's still not listening. He runs towards a military truck, ignoring his family. Ray drops Rachel off at a tree and orders her to stay there. Ray asks Robbie why he's doing this as the military continues to attack. Ray tells his son he loves him and he's not letting him do this. A woman keeps badgering Rachel about coming with them, and Ray gives up on Robbie and runs towards Rachel's aid. The dumbass couple acts surprised he's a dad when she clearly told them who her dad was for the past 5 minutes. Explosions happen all over as Ray screams for Robbie. Ray runs off with Rachel in arms, seeing the damage the aliens are doing. Ray and Rachel make it to a guy in a bunker. Ray is at a loss for words until he gets Rachel to lie down on a couch. He tells her Robbie is going to meet them in Boston. He continues to comfort Rachel as Andy Dufresne does some iron work. She asks Ray to sing a lullaby goodnight. He apologizes, not knowing any of the requested lullabies. He begins to sing a song with tears in his eyes, and Harlan offers him a peach schnapps. He apologizes for her son, but Ray remains positive. Ray asks him if he's lost anyone. Harlan tells him he has food and water for weeks, and he's welcome to stay. Harlan says this isn't a war, it's an extermination. Running is what gets you killed. Keep a clear head. Harlan says they have to have a weakness. They killed some in Osaka, I heard. He tells Ray he wants to fight them from underground. Ray examines these red vines growing and gets scared hearing noises around him. He hears Harlan talking to Rachel, saying if anything happens to her dad, he'll take care of her. Ray confronts him on it, and Harlan asks what's his plan. You want to get caught? It gets quiet as we see one of the arm appendages enter the basement. Ray and Rachel hide out as Harlan grabs an axe. Harlan climbs under the appendage to Ray, but makes a noise. It follows, but they use a mirror to confuse it and hide. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What'd you think?
All right, so the captain here, I recognize from that, the captain of the ship, I recognize from the firefighter show I used to watch pretty religiously, Rescue Me. I don't know if any of y'all ever watched that, the Dennis Leary one, but this captain, John Scruddy, played Kenny Shea on that show. Great actor. Then then here we get just another terrifying scene with those things reaching down to the water and grabbing everyone. The only thing I keep thinking is just like how damn cold they probably are. And I think they maybe should have played into that a little bit more. I mean, you could see their breath as they were just walking over the bridge to the ferry. So, I mean, it has to be cold as shit, right? And then you get thrown into that water. I don't know. Maybe they got over it a little bit too much, too easily to me. Or maybe I've just seen too many Walking Dead seasons. But this set of scenes is just filled with insane visuals. The shot of the three of them running through the woods and clothes raining down on them, unreal. And then we have Robbie running off, almost feeling that draw of his serving and fighting these things, which is fine. But Ray, my man, you just left Rachel by a tree. Like, you really do make terrible father decisions, bro. I mean, Robbie's a young man. His decisions at that age could be his own. But you have an obligation and a little girl that can't take care of herself like Robbie can. Dude has no parenting common sense. Parenting awareness is a 0, maybe a 1, but not much. It shouldn't take somebody almost stealing Rachel for that to click, but, anyway. And what do you know? Tim motherfucking Robbins, my guys. Fun fact here, as Ray and Rachel run for cover toward Tim Robbins' farmhouse, the basement door, a flaming military Hummer rattles past, which never made sense to me. Like, did they turn around and then get burned by those things? Because they weren't driving the other way, right? And if they got burned, wouldn't they just come to a stop, not necessarily turn around and roll backwards or roll the other way? Anyway, Anyway, I don't know. The fun fact is that the moment was filmed in just 1 or 2 takes because the special effects flame liquid dripped into the driver's side tire and set it on fire. So they couldn't do that more than that. And another few Easter eggs from the set of scenes in the basement. Like, I don't know why, but this is not the Easter egg, but I just wanted to say this is always my least favorite part of the movie. Robbins was great, but I just wanted to see more of the trek, I guess. But anyway, the Easter egg is Tim Robbins' line, "It's not a war any more than it's a war between men and maggots." Slightly modified quote from the original novel. Apparently, I don't know. I don't read much. But substituting maggots for ants was the original line. The line was also used in the infamous 1938 Orson Welles radio broadcast that I talked about earlier. And to his character, he is apparently a combination of 3 different characters from the novel. The curate, who gets trapped in the ruined house with the main character, the artilleryman, whose behavior, dialogue is kind of the main basis for the film's character. And his name is Ogilvy, after a friend of the narrator. So yeah, Ogilvy, not Tim Robbins, but I'm probably going to call him Tim Robbins. Oh, and guess what? Bill freaking Murray was the original choice for Harlan Ogilvy, but scheduling with apparently The Life of the Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Wow, I don't even know what that movie is, so I missed that one. But it prevented him from accepting. Bill Murray is the man, so I probably would have liked that better, to be honest. Sorry. Anyway, sorry for rambling.
Yeah, that thing just, popping out of the water. It's a wrap. But if they can survive this boat crash, hopefully there's a door in the water that's big enough for both Rose and Jack. I thought it was a pretty cool visual seeing the aliens snatch people up out of the water. That was a good shot. And then when Ray and kids make it to the top of the hill and we see all the purple lights, I'm not going to lie, the first thing that popped into my head was, so this is what it would be like if Color Out of Space was actually a good movie. Sorry, Sean. If I'm Ray, I'm putting hands and feet on Robbie when I catch up to him. Like, where are you going, idiot? I really wanted Ray and Robbie both to get zapped as soon as they stood up. Just standing there looking at each other while Rachel gets kidnapped. It was infuriating. And then Ray and Rachel, they're saved by another familiar face. It's Tim Robbins, which it's really cool Tim Robbins is in this movie because, Morgan Freeman narrated it. Him and Tim Robbins, they hadn't worked together since The Shawshank Redemption. That's really cool. The lullaby scene, so dumb to me. Come on, man. Like, I laughed at how ridiculous it was when she's asking for lullabies and he doesn't know any because he's a bad dad. We get that. And then he sings some song that she's never heard. Like, I didn't need it. Just didn't need it. We already know he's a bad dad. But they do a good job at keeping the pacing right again because after a brief cool down, we get action again. It's good tension when the thing pops in and Rachel and Ray are trying to hide but also get to each other. And then I thought it was pretty quick thinking to use a mirror to distract it and kind of buy them some time. I liked it.
Yeah, it reminded me of 28 Days Later when Sis was hiding behind the mirror to hide from the, was it the soldier or the...
Yeah.
Or was it the infected? I think it was an infected person.
Was it an infected soldier?
I think it was an infected soldier. Live or die, make your choice. All right, here, next set of scenes. The appendage turns around until it hears Rachel's foot slide. It looks behind the mirror and sees only a shoe. The 3 exit their hiding spot and hear something fall. More aliens are in the basement looking around and the 3 continue to hide from it. Ray tries to take the gun from Harlan and the 2 fight over it quietly as the aliens continue to browse. Harlan gets the gun as we hear the trumpeting noise. The aliens flee the basement. Harlan says to Ray they're not on the same page. We see the red vines growing rapidly as Harlan calls for Ray. Ray runs to him angrily. He's yelling until he sees the machine sucking the blood out of folks. Harlan begins Shawshanking it, chanting, "Not my blood." Harlan hits Ray with a shovel and starts to rant. Ray grabs Rachel and blindfolds her, telling her not to take it off. He has her sing "Hush It by a Mountain" and tells her not to stop. Ray closes the door and a fight ensues. Rachel takes the blindfold off and hugs her dad. The 2 sleep on the couch until Rachel hears an alien. She screams and Ray hits the appendage with the axe repeatedly. The tentacle is severed and he chases after her upstairs. He goes outside and sees the red vines everywhere calling for Rachel. Suddenly, an alien foot steps down in front of him and he takes off running. He hides in a truck but is pulled into the air. He hears Rachel screaming, who is standing in the open field. The alien pulls her into the air and walks off, and Ray pursues. He finds grenades and throws them at her. Ray is pulled into the air and joins the others who are trapped. We see a guy sucked into another part of the alien as Ray finds Rachel. Ray grabs the grenades as he's sucked up by the alien. Others try to pull him from the alien's grip and succeed. He spits out the grenade clips as the basket they were stuck in falls loose of the creature. In the next set of scenes of the ending, go ahead, Brian.
All right, I don't have as much on this set of scenes, but maybe it's just because it's in my head right now, but this was very reminiscent of Spielberg's Jurassic Park raptor scene in the kitchen here, with those creatures looking for those three, the main three here, and that you could kind of see them over their head as they kind of moved around in the room. Very cool shots here, though, although honestly, I'm ready to get out of this basement, if I'm being honest. Especially seeing the tripod spraying blood everywhere. Holy shit. Absolute nightmare fuel. And I do love when they're stuck in the tripod. Like, it's scary as shit, but I love the outcome. I mean, it's risky on Ray's part, though. Like when he threw the grenade to try to get it to pick him up, to reunite him with his daughter, obviously. Like, what were the chances that thing didn't just fry him with its laser? I mean, yeah, it might have been a different type of machine, only for the harvesting. I don't know. But we got to do better. I mean, that dude, that's risky right there. And speaking of doing better, that hole looked like a butthole. I mean, we can all agree with that, right? Sorry.
Yeah, kids, man. They can just never be still, especially when they're supposed to. Why'd she just throw her foot out there? I ain't buying that her foot slipped. Like, she was... What was it slip? Why was she lean like that? But it was funny that they Scooby-Dooed their way out of there, just left the boot to distract it. That was funny. But I'm not buying that ugly bastard popped in and grabbed the chair that Rachel was sitting in and didn't see her. Come on. And then if Ray's able to cut this thing with an axe like that, so you're telling me the Army can't do anything? Or are they even trying? Did the Army even try anything? Because he just took one of its legs off with an axe. I think there's great tension as Ray goes out looking for Rachel and seeing the guy, once they're all pulled up in there, the guy gets sucked up inside the tripod. I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I'm ready for the ending.
All righty, you guys, here's the ending. The alien falls to the earth and blows up. The people make it to Boston and the place is wrecked. They notice the alien is dying off and they're ordered to keep moving. The soldier tells him it started moving erratically and it died on its own. Soldiers order them into a tunnel as another alien appears. He says, "Look at the birds, there's no shield." The soldiers run out and launch missiles at it, and Rachel has to scream some more for whatever reason. The alien goes tumbling into a building and the soldiers go investigate. Orange liquid begins to fall out the creature and the alien slides out dead. Ray is carrying Rachel through the streets to Grandma's house. Rachel runs to her mom and the two hug. She thanks Ray as the grandparents and Tim exit the door. Robbie survived and made it to Boston somehow, hugging his father. Aerial shot of all the destruction, and we get more narration of the invaders being doomed by the tiniest organisms Earth had to offer. Brian, that's the ending. What'd you think?
I know a lot of people don't like the ending, but truthfully, I do. It kind of reminds me of the Happening, where I'm one of the few that liked that, apparently. I didn't mind that they weren't compatible with the Earth and it came back all the way full circle from the start, where it was like the splinter that would eventually be rejected by the body. I liked that whole thing, but apparently in this final scene when Ray pulls up to the parents' house with Rachel, all of them having survived the destruction, even Robbie being there, it made me tear up a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I told you I got attached to these people. And I read where many viewers criticized the scene for being unrealistic and thought it was maybe an addition by Spielberg because he typically ends his films in a sentimental note. That's not always a bad thing. But what few people realize is that the source novel also ends in a similar fashion. Not that I've read it, again, but, I know enough about it to know that it does. Also, this was cool. Gene Barry and Ann Robinson, the grandparents, they actually appeared in War of the Worlds 1953 as Doctors Clayton Forrester and Sylvia Van Buren. So this was actually Barry's, sadly, final film before he passed away. But as far as the ending goes, man, I liked it. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry.
All right. So they didn't put up much of a fight. Kind of lackluster, not going to lie. It was kind of frustrating, especially hearing that the Army didn't even do anything. Like, You know how mad I'd be if I found out that all I had to do was just wait? Just wait it out. Stay put. Try to find a basement and hide. I'd have been pissed. I don't have much here, just that I thought it would be a much bigger final battle. Oh, and no way Robbie lived. Huh? Come on. We talk about Chad Meeks.
Yeah.
We talk about Chad Meeks a lot, but this is the most improbable surviving character I've ever seen. And, overall, though, I thought it was a solid movie. I enjoyed it. But here's the thing. Here's my spin, my twist. I think that this whole movie, not the whole movie, but the whole journey that Ray had to go on as a single dad, I think that it's his ex-wife's fault. And here's why. If she had just stuck it out in that relationship, then Ray wouldn't have been trying to keep Robbie and Rachel alive by himself, right? But we see what she did. She's a gold digger. She left Ray because his job wasn't good enough. She got the rich guy now with the nice basement. Well, that's all it was, just money. Ray wasn't always this bad guy who didn't have interest. He's just scarred. He's a hurt person because his ex-wife, the kid's mom, I can't remember her name, she broke his heart, and this is who he is now. So, moral of the story is, just because things get a little bit rough in a relationship, stick together because you're better together than on your own trying to take two kids through this crazy world.
All right.
All right, yeah, I've got the Book of Faces here. Michelle Mirza, I love the remake. Great choice, Mike. Sorry, Michelle, this was my pick, not Mike's. Sean Irwin. The hatred I have for this movie, but it seems to be only me who hates it. It was boring, cheap, and the ending was quite possibly one of the stupidest things I've ever seen with the reunion. 2 out of 10. Sean, you've been wrong a lot. You've been wrong a lot. And that's okay, man. We all have our opinions. You're wrong on this as well. Some guy named Nico Chen responded, "Things are going back to normal, I see." And he said, "Does it help knowing that Sarah loves the movie?" Well, like we said before, Sarah seems to be the smart one there, even though she picked rubber, but I think that was a joke. Anyway, that's all we had on the Book of Faces.
Yeah, she gave the movie a 10.
No, it doesn't help. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just so funny that he hates this movie, but he likes Color Out of Space. And what I said earlier is like, this is what Color Out of Space would be if it was actually a good movie. That's funny. But I will agree with him, though. The ending frustrated me as well.
Ticked you off?
Yeah. We got one on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. It's from Andrew Ferguson. He said, "The scene where the alien people catchers use random captured folk to water the grass with blood still gets me to this day." I agree. That was a really cool or twisted scene, however you want to look at it. I enjoyed that.
All right, Dustin, you want to knock out any fun facts you got?
Yeah, I actually have quite a few, so bear with me here. One scene shows Ray running out of the house to find Robbie while dozens of people are right outside his house photographing the lightning storm. To film this scene, producers hired people on the street to come to the street at the time of shooting with the camera and film so that they could get pictures of Tom Cruise for free. That's pretty genius. Like, hey, we need a ton of extras. How are we going to get them here? Hey, do you want a free picture of Tom Cruise? I like that. During the film of the underwater scenes, or during the filming of the underwater scenes, where the ferry capsizes, Spielberg played a prank on Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning by playing the dramatic music from Jaws through massive underwater speakers on the soundstage. That's pretty funny. We love a good prank. While filming nearby, Tom Cruise, along with a 20-member entourage, including Spielberg, visited a Lexington, Virginia Dairy Queen. Cruise saw a jar on the counter with a photo of Ashley Flint and her story. Flint had been in a go-kart accident a few months earlier, leaving her family with a mountain of hospital bills, and Cruise put $5,000 into the jar. So all the stuff I said about him being a creep and a bad person, like, that's really cool. It doesn't redeem him, but it's a step. This one's kind of lengthy, but yeah, it drives home what I was saying. Steven Spielberg said after the shooting that he would never make a film with Tom Cruise again. Reasons given were Cruise's behavior on set related to his involvement with Scientology. Cruise was rumored to have tried to convert Spielberg, and especially his erratic performance on Oprah the May 23rd, 2005 episode, Spielberg said he thought that hurt the movie. That's the one where he jumped up and down on the couch, said he was in love with Katie Holmes, all that stuff. And the rift was further said to be caused by Scientology's well-known opposition to psychiatry. And Cruise apparently went on repeated rants about use of Ritalin in kids with ADD, and was especially angered when a psychiatrist friend of his was harassed by Scientologists after he had mentioned the doctor's name in Cruise's presence. However, they seem to have made amends by 2023 when a clip was released of both men hugging and Spielberg praising Cruise for saving the movie industry after the COVID-19 pandemic with Top Gun Maverick. So he's a jerk. Due to Spielberg's last-minute post-production work, he had to drop out of that Oprah show. And so that would have been even more awkward. Imagine Spielberg sitting on the couch and Tom Cruise is jumping up and down saying, "I'm in love." That would have been crazy. This one made me laugh. After her actions in the film, Dakota Fanning's character was voted most useless thing to have in an apocalypse by MTV.
I agree.
The most useless thing to have during an apocalypse is that kid. That's funny.
Yeah, I agree. I vote for that too.
Tom Cruise gave Dakota Fanning a Motorola Razr for her 11th birthday while filming the movie and has continued to send her birthday gifts every year since then. This is going to be extremely controversial, but does that sound like grooming to you? That's a little weird, especially when you consider how young Ana de Armas is and how old he is. I mean, she's mid-30s, that's fine, but I don't know, that's a little creepy. This is one of the few movies, or one of the only few movies, to be nominated for both Oscars and Razzies. So it's not controversial, wow, Sean, that you hate this movie, because a lot of people thought it was very bad. Just depends on which side you fall on. And then the last one I've got, we've mentioned just a ton of, the supporting cast of big names. This one isn't a big name, but it's someone I recognize and I didn't call it out earlier. So I'm going to use him here. Columbus Short is his name. He played one of the soldiers in the film. He was also in a movie that, it's one of my favorite comedies. I love it. That is a hot take. People hate it, but it's called Death at a Funeral, the remake with Peter Dinklage, Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock, and Zoe Saldana. Zoe was also in one of Nico's favorite movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, with John C. Reilly, who was in Never Been Kissed with David Arquette.
What was the movie that was my favorite?
Guardians of the Galaxy. You said you loved it. Yeah,
it was great. Saw it in theater like 4 or 5 times. But anywho, budget, $132 million, and it grossed $603 million. That's per Mike Settle. He knows money, so I trust him on that one. Dusty, you want to jump into the favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating? I'll read Mike's first.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, another day, another end-of-the-world takeover movie from Brian. Love the cast of the movie. Cruise is really solid here, and while he isn't my favorite actor, I think he's good in this role. Rachel, Dakota, whatever. My God, what an annoying-ass kid the majority of this movie. Retweet. There are certainly moments that tug at your heartstrings and make the film as grounded as it can be. I like that they find a realistic-ish way to defeat the aliens for once a virus wipes out someone else. Imagine surviving an alien invasion having to live in Boston with a throw-up emoji. But at least your life is narrated by Morgan Freeman now. Anyways, it's a little long and very Spielbergian, but it brought me back to seeing it in the theater, so that was fun nostalgia. Shout out to Tim Robbins and a pre-Stranger Things David Harbour. I gave the movie a 7 1/4.
All right. So I'll go ahead and read mine now. Let me get it pulled back up here. Favorite kill and least favorite kill. I didn't really have one. My least favorite, or my favorite or least favorite, I don't know, non-kill was Robbie. Like, that's just, he should have been dead, man. Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, give me a break.
But as far as my final thoughts in the rating, it's got its flaws, but it's enjoyable. It has great pacing and action, a very stacked cast, and really good visual effects, even in today's standards, not just by 2005's. Like, I thought it looked really good. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 7 3/4, 7.75.
All right, I'll go next. Favorite kill, I'm going to pick the one kill where we saw the person's blood getting extracted from it or sucked out of it. I thought that was cool. Least favorite kill, you can pick any of them that got zapped by the energy, whatever that shit was. Like, you can just pick one of them. I thought the movie was fine. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm not super into these end-of-the-world alien kind of movies per se. I do think Tom Cruise was good. Dakota Fanning was super annoying. Tim Robbins was cool. Like, it was really cool to see him like Shawshanking it too. Like, that had to be a nod, right? Like, it just had to be. I don't ever plan on watching the movie again, though. I give it a 5.5. It's just not what I want to watch.
Ooh.
A 5.5. Almost the same rating as Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Absolutely incredible. I half want to rate this higher just because of that lunacy. Anyway, but I'll stick to where I was earlier. I gave this one an 8.5.
All right. Well, with everyone's scores submitted, that gives us a composite score of 7.25. IMDb has it at a 6.6. Letterboxd, it's 3.3 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes, 76% of critics liked it. So, and even Nico's score, 5.5, is right on the fringe of what a favorable review on Letterboxd would be. So, yeah, it's a decent little movie.
If it makes it any better, I'm closer to a 3 than a 2. Or 2.5, whatever. But anywho, final thoughts, guys, on War of the Worlds. Mm-hmm. All right, let's shout out our blood donors, then I'll announce Mike's pick for next week. Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. Camp Counselor Reoccurring, Edward Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis, Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. We really appreciate y'all. It, like we mentioned, it takes a huge burden off of us to help us pay the bills because it's definitely not free to do this show. Next week in Mike's free theme month, he chose a movie from Womp Stomp Films, a friend of ours. You know, we've interviewed Vincent DeSaney in the past. We're taking on Dylan's New Nightmare, kind of a Nightmare on Elm Street. What is it called? Wes Craven's New Nightmare, like a de facto sequel to that. I watched it this week. It's pretty solid. I'm excited to review it and talk about it. Ron Sloan is in it. We recently interviewed him. You can go check out that interview if you want to hear his thoughts on it. Dustin, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No.
All right. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,